What's up guys, Chris VA Travels. Today I'm going to be walking the famous Sunken Road here at the Fredericksburg battlefield and take a look at the Innis House. The house that was situated right in between the two armies, caught in the crossfire, pretty much turned into Swiss cheese. And I'll tell you about some of the sights along the way. And right here we've got Lafayette Boulevard. They call this Dead Man's Curve, sharp curve down there. And at the time of the Civil War, this was the Telegraph Road that wrapped around, stretched, continued along the Sunken Road, went up to DC. If you visit across the street, you've got the Battlefield Restaurant. Good place to grab a hamburger, some French fries. And next to it, the Picket Post, where they sell dug and non-dug artifacts. Up here on Willis Hill, of course, the big National Cemetery. And I've made a video on this, you can go back and check it out. I'll tell you, this monument was dedicated to the Union 5th Corps, erected by General Daniel Butterfield, 1901. And I believe that's the same year he died, actually. And yeah, 15,000 people buried in here, and they only know the names of 2,500. That's crazy. And you'll see the little tombstones, and sometimes there are multiple bodies buried underneath. Pretty wild. And there are soldiers from 6 surrounding battles. Of course, the 4 around here, Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, Wilderness, Spotsylvania Courthouse, but then also Mine Run and North Anna. Yeah, so. And then here we've got the Caretaker's Cottage, and this was erected in 1906. Cool. And right here, the famous stone wall. And this was erected by the CCC, Civilian Conservation Corps, 1935. And same thing with the Visitor Center, erected by the CCC. And at the time of the Civil War, this was the Hall House. And Lafayette Boulevard at the time of the Civil War was Prussia Street. And just beyond that house is the famous swale. It's about where the 7-Eleven is, on the other side of the building. If you're ever out here, you can go take a look at it. This road was paved up until 2003. It was open to through traffic. And yeah, that's when they also added a couple sections of the stone wall. This was 1935. And then further up, I guess it was around 2003, they added those 2 sections. And then there's an original section, the 4th section, kind of down over, you'll see a little hump down on the other side of the Innis House. At the time of the Civil War, these houses weren't here. As a matter of fact, you had 900 yards of pretty much open field. This was the fairgrounds. Fredericksburg proper only extended 4 to 5 blocks, I believe up to Prince Edward Street. Yeah, and we're technically, this is Spotsylvania County here, Marie's Heights. And old photo. And there's the mighty stone wall right there. And yeah, St. George's Church. You'll see all that open land. And the Stratton House still stands. And this video isn't necessarily going to be about the battle, but for anyone not too familiar with the battle, I'll just quickly tell you that Robert E. Lee was stationed right across Lafayette Boulevard, where we were down there, a little to the right on Telegraph Hill, which is now Lee's Hill. The Confederate Army was broken into 2 corps, and all this was under General Longstreet. And then when you go further down to the end of the Battlefield Park, Prospect Hill, that's right across from Slaughter Pen Farm, that was Stonewall Jackson's corps. The Confederacy, 2nd place in the Civil War. Oh, before going any further, yeah, let me just give you a brief overview of the action on this portion of the battlefield. General Burnside and the Union Army, of course, were on the other side of the Rappahannock River on the Stafford Heights. And General Burnside came up with a genius plan. He decided to march his army straight across this wide open field, 900 yards wide open field, right toward the Confederates. who had the best position you could possibly have up on these heights. So, surprise, surprise, it didn't work out. And you would think, okay, the first charge didn't work. I saw what happened, let's try it again. Second charge didn't work. You watch that and you're like, all right, I've got it down. Third time's a charm. That's it, we'll try it again. That didn't work out. Had a fourth charge, fifth charge, sixth charge, and a seventh charge. Of course, everything unsuccessful. Yeah. Although part of it was this portion of the battlefield was supposed to be a little bit of a decoy for the southern end of the battlefield. And I know as I say that, some people are going to hop in and say, oh, Robert E. Lee, Pickett's charge. He didn't try it 7 times is all I know. And here we go, the Irish Brigade. And Irish Brigade, they came up Mercer Street, which is going to be right on the other side of the Innis House. And from what I had read, this photo is not, this painting actually isn't going to be accurate because they didn't have their green flags at the time. I'd heard they had been destroyed at Antietam and they had been sent off for repairs. And but yeah, you see that little sprigs in their hats. But yeah, if you want to pause and read, as you see, I need to take a little break. But I'll be back in action in a minute. And one of the worst Brady photos taken during the Civil War, not the worst, but one of the worst, was taken from maybe right about here. Maybe from a little bit further behind me. But yeah, a Confederate soldier lying dead. There used to be a trench. And this was the Second Battle of Fredericksburg, May 3rd, 1863. And so at least for that battle, they had a trench right behind the wall. Oh, and this is the kind of newer portion of the wall that they rebuilt early 2000s. You'll see it's a little bit cleaner. And this stone came from Government Island up there in Stafford. And that's where they got the sandstone from pretty much most of the colonial homes in the area, Chatham Manor. Some of it was used in the White House and also the U.S. Capitol. Okay, so yeah. All right, so now we're getting up to the Stevens house and we're getting up to some shade. Check out this plaque. And over here, this little monument, this is where General Thomas R.R. Cobb was killed. Let's see what we've got over here. Oh, yeah, okay, this is the photo I was talking about, so I guess it was from right about here. Okay. Again, this is the Hall house right there. So yeah, pretty horrific, and luckily they had this kind of like faded. You can find sharper pictures of it online. And yeah, there were Confederates positioned about every 3 yards. Oh, and our man Jubal Early was trying to defend this hill during the Second Battle of Fredericksburg. In this one, the Union Army overtook the hill and they marched towards Chancellorsville, where they were eventually repelled at the Battle of Salem Church. All right, so again, I'll pause right here and let you read. So let me take a closer look at this plaque dedicated to Cobb. Yeah, on this spot, wow. And shrapnel from a shell is what got him. Yeah, in the femoral artery. And kind of a wild story involving his death. And you know how these stories go, but the story goes that the cannon that fired the shot was over at Federal Hill. Federal Hill is an 18th century house off Hanover Street. Hanover Street's the paved road at the end of the sunken road. Obviously, everything was wide open at the time of the battle. Oh, and that's the site of where his mother was born. Obviously, Cobb is from Georgia, but his mother is from Fredericksburg. It was his grandparents' house. So yeah, apparently the cannon was fired from Federal Hill. Maybe it was more kind of this way. And it went through the Stevens house. This is the Martha Stevens house. And apparently, I guess landed near him, shrapnel, got him. So kind of a wild story. Yeah, we've got a marker on him right here, actually. Oh, and after he didn't last too long after he was hit, but he was taken up to the Cox House, which is up Lafayette Boulevard or the Telegraph Road at the time. Where the old, any locals might remember where the old Virginians outdoor movie theater is, right across from the Spotswood Baptist Church. It was used as a hospital, and that's where he finally passed away. All right, let me hover over this picture. Oh, all right, so one of the oldest monuments in the park, erected in the 1880s. Yeah, okay, well, there's the telegraph right there, telephone lines. And as always, pause and read. And Cobb had about 3,000 troops stationed, of course, right here on the battlefield. And you'll hear that he had an Irish brigade. That's not going to be true. That's what they try to say in the movie Gods and Generals. But apparently there are a few Irishmen scattered throughout, but it wasn't an Irish brigade. And he chose this section because if you go back to where I started at Lafayette Boulevard at the end there, there's kind of a drop off. And then down here, you'll see a drop off. So we're on a little bit of a plateau right here, a little bit of a heights, I guess. The well to the Stevens house. And here lived Miss Martha Stevens, friend of the Confederate soldier, United Daughters of the Confederacy. This isn't the original foundation. These are just marker stones. But yeah, the story goes, Martha was in the house during the battle, which I can't imagine. There was no basement in this thing. But the story goes that, yeah, she tended to wounded soldiers. She would take strips of her own garment out to the well, dampen them, to bind their wounds. Pretty insane. And she was kind of ahead of her time. She owned this house. She never married. She had several common law husbands, but didn't want to lose the rights to her property. She owned the Innis House, rented that out. She also owned a 90-acre farm out near Spotsylvania Courthouse. She ran an illegal tavern, and some think that she ran a brothel out of the Innis House. Yeah, there's paperwork going back to the 1850s that 8 people lived in the house, and there were a bunch of unnamed young women who lived there, so it's all speculation. And yeah, so very interesting character, Martha Stevens. It's so cool, they got a photo of it. This is from 1866. They don't know, they think this guy, he was either one of the photographers or Martha Stevens' common law husband. Lastly, this thing burned down 1913. Yeah, so right around here, 8 members of the Innis, Mazine, and Stevens family were buried, including Martha, and she passed away 1888 at the age of 68. Made it to it. The Innis House, built not long before the war, 1856, again owned by Martha Stevens, and it remained a private residence for a little over 100 years. Martha's common law husband and one of her sons were out fighting. They both got wounded at Antietam, so yeah, shortly before Fredericksburg. Are there any bullet holes, I guess, on...
The majority of them are going to be on the interior wall on the inside, but there's a few on this side that you can see as well.
Oh yeah, I guess that's... So obviously that was fired by a Confederate. Cool, all right, so yeah, go inside. So, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Get some bullet holes. All right, upstairs is roped off. Oh wow, yeah, these things are everywhere. Dang, yeah, house really was turned into Swiss cheese. All right, small fireplace. Obviously these floors are original. Would this have been a bullet hole? Looks like maybe they tried to cover it up or something. Okay. Wow, here we go. Oh, all right, so. Cool, all right, in the side room. And this might have been an add-on, I guess, at one time way back when. And other side of the fireplace. Boy, couldn't do much in here. But I'm sure this room heated up pretty nice. Very cool, small window right here. Kind of a little mini hogshead right there. They had found graffiti on the walls upstairs. And all right, so yeah, just a really small house, not much to see other than these bullet holes, but pretty wild. You can always tell, I guess, what angle, yeah, kind of tell what angle bullets came from. And apparently the front of the house was thrashed, and Martha Innis had that replaced, but and then they just wallpapered over this, like I say. All right, very cool. So, quick tour of the Innis House. Yeah, I don't think these are pit marks, maybe just chisel marks or something, or just wear and tear over time.
Some people think the glass is like original. It's totally not.
It's not,
this is just from people like
right,
because you can see the number and name of the glass. So
right.
None of this is like battle damage or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
But the bullet holes, floor, a lot of the original foundation, like, is all
The foundation, okay.
Yeah.
Cool, all right, appreciate it. Oh, all right, sun's hitting it great. And again, there's not going to be any bullet marks on the front. Got a big walnut tree right next to it. Okay, oak over here. Interesting gutter job there. But yeah. Miss Toombs lived here in the 1970s, and she would get annoyed at passersby just peeking through the windows, knocking on the door, asking if they can come inside, take a look around. And she apparently wrote a letter to the Park Service saying that next person that knocked on her door late at night, she would show them the bullet holes in something other than the house. Yeah, and she was actually a renter, and then the actual owner of the house, I believe, was a local doctor. He ended up passing it on to the Park Service. I can see several bullet holes, actually, from back here now. One to the right of that left window, kind of one right below it, and then that add-on right there on the top right of the window. Yeah, there was a porch on this on the front of this thing, or the back of it, where we're looking. There was a TV, little mini satellite dish on it. And further down, yeah, you probably can't tell with this camera, but you're gonna have that swale on the other side of where that truck just passed over. And that Stratton house is the brick house. And I don't want this video to be too crazy and too long, but I'm gonna make another video of just homes in Fredericksburg, I guess, or spots related to the Civil War. And I'll take a closer look at it. So yeah, here we are. All right, so yeah, great. And the fairgrounds, they call that Mercer Square. And yeah, there's that swale I was just talking about. Irish Brigade, like I say, coming up the Mercer Street. Now again, they weren't supposed to technically have that green flag. But yeah, Stratton House. No place to hide, sitting ducks. Oh yeah, great picture right here. And yeah, downtown. There were a lot of German immigrants. They came to Fredericksburg just before the war. And they lived in little tenant houses up on the hill. And Marie's Heights is a series of 5 hills. And the first one in the National Cemetery, I said, was Willis Hill. And actually, Marie Hill, where Brompton sits, is right here. And then actually, not part of it, Lee's Hill would be a little further on the, just past Willis Hill. But yeah, take a look at this picture. Again, there's the swale, Mercer Square Fairgrounds. Yeah, the Heights. Yeah, the Eberts, they were German immigrants, and they had a store on the corner. There were some plaques. Their store was right in here. Oh, Magnolia. Still in bloom a little bit. Some of the flowers are dead. But yeah, once they finish up, I'm gonna go up and take a closer look at the Richard Kirkland statue. Richard Kirkland, a fine looking young man, 19 years old. The 2nd South Carolina Infantry. Ended up dying at Chickamauga less than a year later. But yeah, here he is. Famous, he hopped the wall, the stone wall, and gave aid to wounded Union soldiers. Yeah, great looking statue. Went up 1965, 100-year anniversary, the end of the war. And oh yeah, here you go, 1965 by Felix de Weldon. And they say this is really similar to the Iwo Jima statue they have, the Arlington National Cemetery. Yeah, erected by the state of South Carolina. I think the governor had it put up. I'll let you read. Yeah, born in Kershaw County, 1843. Yeah, killed in action, Chickamauga. Get the last side of it over here. Looks like there were a wall of trees here at one time. Oh, and I hate to burst people's bubble, but there was a chance that some people think the story is not true, just because there were no letters written about it at the time. And the story wasn't told until 1880 by General Kershaw. And this is the original section of the wall. It's kind of a retaining wall now. But yeah, pretty cool. Original part of the wall. Okay, so here's Brompton up on the hill, up on Murray Hill. And there are bullet holes all over that thing as well. Old photo right here, 1865, but owned by John Murray. And I missed his grave. He's buried over the Confederate cemetery. I did a video on it a few months ago and totally forgot to include him. Oh, you'll see a wall on this side also. But yeah, area was used as a hospital, May of '64. So lots of wounded from Wilderness and Spotsylvania Courthouse. And there's a famous witness tree, I believe. I don't know if we can, I don't know if that's it right there. I can't see the trunk through the leaves. Yeah, built 1824. Again, kind of the White House of Mary Washington College. The president lives there. And, oh, in this area of the battlefield, the Confederates actually took a lot of casualties, about 1,000. And apparently this was just the Brompton house was a big target for them to line their guns up on. A lot of the South Carolina infantry was up here. Yeah, the Ebert store was at this corner right here. Those German immigrants I was telling you about, well, technically they were from Prussia. And down at the end of Kirkland Street is the Sunken Tavern, which at the time of the Civil War was the Sisson store. And it was a grocery store all the way up until the 1950s. My dad had told me. And then, oh, also if you go to the Sunken Tavern, my mom has some artwork, some Civil War paintings hanging in there. Here it is, Ebert House and Store. Photo from 1927. Ebert family lived here for over 100 years. Stone wall right there. And it says you could smell the gingerbread and candy when you walked into the store. Oh yeah, okay, plaque, yeah, telling you the original wall right here. And I live half a mile from here. I walked over here, so I've been here a million times. That's how I know all this stuff. But yeah, here it is. 1865 until 1866. Just a stone wall. All right, so Confederate riflemen here behind the wall. Okay, and you can see the kind of the trench. Sorry, I know people don't like when I point. But yeah, they would stand 3 or 4 people deep. The guy up front would fire, the guys behind them would reload, and they would pass the guy up front the reloaded gun so they could continually fire. Oh, and up here at the end of the line, this is going to be Hanover Street. A lot of prominent figures in Fredericksburg that lived here during the Civil War. Montgomery Slaughter, the mayor, lived a little further down to the right. And one of the 2 main veins that headed west, this connects with William Street, and William Street eventually turned into the Route 3, which led you out to Chancellorsville. All right, so a lot of sycamores around here. But yeah, that wraps it up. That's it for my stroll down the Sunken Road. And I'm gonna make a video, hopefully later this summer, of just spots in Fredericksburg related to the Civil War that are outside of the battlefield park. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. As always, guys, like and subscribe. See you on the next one.